Welcome back to the program. This Saturday, as we've been telling you, is the annual VeloSano Bike to Cure. And as you saw earlier in the show, today is our second VeloSano Day of Giving to support cancer research at the Cleveland Clinic. This is very important work they're doing, and we all know someone who has suffered from the deadly disease. 100% of every dollar raised for VeloSano goes toward that research. There are 100 living hope cancer survivors and patients participating in this year's ride, including one I recently had the honor to meet and learn more about his story and exactly why he rides.
Mike Balla may look like any cyclist out for a ride, but he's faced a long road just to be able to get on his bike.
I remember the ER doctor saying something to the effect of, are you familiar with leukemia? And to be honest, I didn't even know it was cancer. I didn't know what it was. I knew people that had it, but didn't really realize what it meant.
4 years ago, Mike started out on a journey that no one wants to find themselves taking.
They put me on an ambulance and shipped me down to the Cleveland Clinic and started treatments that day.
What he thought was a spider bite led to a diagnosis of acute myeloid leukemia.
It was pretty aggressive, and there were some statistics thrown around, but what happens to somebody else doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen to me. So I took every day and said, yeah, I'm going to fight.
Over the next year, Mike endured 21 spinal taps, bone marrow biopsies, and chemo treatments. He learned he would also need a bone marrow transplant, but there was some good news.
My brother, he was my bone marrow donor, which was a perfect match, which is not common. I was able to have my bone marrow transplant within a few months. Most people wait years.
On December 6, 2018, Mike received that bone marrow transplant, and happily, Mike was home just in time to spend Christmas with his family. But his road to recovery took a sudden turn when in May of 2019, Mike learned he had relapsed.
A treatment had just been opened up for a study, and I want to say I was the first patient in Cleveland to do it. And they said, well, there's some risks, and I said, well, there's risks if I don't do it.
Thanks to a cutting-edge new clinical trial offered by his team at the Cleveland Clinic, Mike's course was changed. He was heading towards remission.
Every few months I go in for a checkup and just check everything and make sure levels are good, and I'm good. I'm fantastic with that.
He's doing it slowly, but now Mike is helping to clear the path behind him. This will be his 4th year participating in VeloSano.
The money that VeloSano raises goes directly towards benefiting that research and the treatment. You're actually part of the machine that's helping fund that. What is that like for you?
It feels good. When I started treatments and they said one of them was new, it never even occurred to me that somewhere somebody had done a study, somebody had done research. I mean, in the back of your mind, you know it, but it's not personal. So it became very real, very personal.
Today, Mike embodies the idea of living hope, riding along with other cancer survivors and supporters, banding together to find a cure.
Being around other people who understand the fight, who understand the pain, who understand the emotions, I think is very good for survivors and their caregivers. You realize how lucky we all are to be here.
What a great guy. He's motivated to do his part to find a cure. And he's got a wild and amazing team around him. His team is called Pedaling Towards Hope. They've raised nearly $10,000 already for cancer research so far this year, joining Mike on his team. And this is just a wild story to show you how it comes all full circle. On his team is his sister-in-law, Eileen. She herself is a fellow cancer survivor. In fact, our Danielle Wiggins shared her story this morning on Go. And if you'd like to see that, you can catch it right now on WKYC.com. I encourage you to do it. That's why it's so important. It's so important, particularly right now in this hour. Right. $10 becomes $20, $50 becomes $100, $100 becomes $200. You're doubling the power of your dollar right now.
And the investment, and it is an investment that you make now, you just don't know when that's going to pay off later, and it's going to help somebody you love or somebody
It might
that you
save
love.
your own life
It
down the road.
very well could.
Yeah.
Well, we have more coming up for us, of course. Excuse me. I am losing my mind. Joe Cronauer is joining us live now for VeloSano's Day of Giving that Jay was just mentioning. There we go. Joe, how's it going out there this afternoon?
I'll tell you what, emotional. That was a beautiful story, Jay. Thank you for sharing Mike's story, but it's so true. Living hope is something that's happening each and every moment in our lives. It's great to have that insight on that. And joining me right now is Nicole Peters, the executive director of VeloSano. We're going to talk about living hope, but for those just tuning in right now, what is VeloSano?
So VeloSano is Latin for swift cure, and that ties into our mission, which is to raise as much as we can to support life-saving cancer research at Cleveland Clinic.
And right now, we only just a couple seconds here, but we want to make sure people understand to donate. And we can donate with a Living Hope message.
That's right. So if you donate now, it will be matched. When you make your donation, you can make it in honor of someone who is currently fighting, or maybe in memory of someone that you have lost. And then what happens after you make that donation, you will be invited to visit our VeloSano Together to Cure wall, where you can share a story, a tribute to that person. There's so many amazing stories there, so we really encourage people to visit that as well.
Terrific. And again, if you don't have the numbers, get them right now. Call 844-394-4438. You can log on to velosano.org/WKYC. You can scan the QR code on your screen right there with your smartphone, or you can text the word GIVE to 216-344-3300. Betsy, Jay, cancer affects all of us. We'd love to hear more stories.
All right. Joe, thank you.